Welcome yet again to another podcast on powerful choices. Me and the great Roneal. Tonight, it just vulnerability and what he is speaking to me is that vulnerability is is strength in some situation like as with any aspect of vulnerability. Me I gotta talk about annoyance and like dealing with those type of things, like for example, as you was here before, making effort to even like make some things flow through, like for example with the animals, as I just see, me make sure me try feed them before we start the podcast so them not disturb the podcast, but still, even though them get what them want, them still come with the antics regardless. And then now, those type of things can make you feel frustrated. And it does make me feel frustrated and annoyed at times. And to be honest, these are the times when I just sit and just say, your ways, oh Lord, not my ways. And so the antics what the world bring can just be drawn out, because a lot of people, you know, think that when you walk with God and when you operate with God, there's no issue and the troubles of the world stops. And that's not the case. It's just that the way or we deal with it is different than when we were just dealing with it on our own. We approach it through the strength of the Lord. Because if we deal with it through way, yeah. So what do you think? What do you think about that?
We just before we came on, we just read a Psalms, and one of the reason why me personally joined to the Psalms of David is the transparency. There is no emotions that we have experienced or will experience that David haven't experienced and fully expressed. We always can find an emotion in the Psalms, or any and everything that we can go through. I think he has been to it, and the level of transparency, and when he cries out to the Most High. So that's something where me personally believe in and being vulnerable to the Most High. For me personally, my transparency and vulnerability only goes with him, not with human beings. I don't really. I'm learning not to do that with humans. The reason being is because we tend to take humility for weakness. You get what I'm saying? So, me personally learn to just be humble with humans, but not vulnerable with them. We will be transparent with you, but there's a different thing, because we not really come cry the vulnerability when we go to the Most High with to you. You will get some of it, but not the full of it. We still like a hold back to a certain extent. So being transparent with you also teach me that I can be more transparent with others, just the same, by the relationship we have with them. Because the level of transparency where we can be with you is based on me knowing you for a period of time and knowing your character, not just what you say, but schizophrenic. Your words are your character match. You get me? I say, the one thing and say the other, and being observant of each other. Then you know. So, but being vulnerable, that's something I only give to the Most High.
True.
You get me? I say, and as me said, this the book of Psalms tell you that because it's funny. We read David's words now, but nobody know his words when he was writing them until you get me. I say, just him and the Most High know that.
True.
That's why we write things down so we can, in chance, you can read it afterwards. But in honesty, I haven't grown. I don't know if it's possible to the level where we can be that vulnerable with another human being like that. It probably is. I don't know. I'm still growing. I'm not worrying. So you get what I'm saying. But yeah, that's where my vulnerability I leave with the Most High for now until He teach me more. And I'm humble enough to always know that there is always more to come. So it is possible if it is will for me to be. But
True.
transparent, I'm cool with that. But vulnerability, I leave that for the Most High alone. Yeah.
I have really learned the 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 strength of vulnerability through humbleness and surrender. And when I say learn, we as human we say that is final because I've learned. But when you understand how the spirit work, you know say it is continual. So
Mm-hmm.
the learning process is still going on, you know, and life itself kind of bring you to a awareness and for one purpose to let you believe in God and trust in God more. And each situation lead you to the strength because it is easy for anybody to break down. And it is easy for anybody because we are humans and we experience life through the body, which is which is capable of going through all emotions. And it's impossible for you to go through an emotion and not experience the sensation that the emotion comes with, whether it's a sadness, happiness, all of it brings forth a particular sensation. Now, I have realized that, you know, being rooted in God have really done tremendously for me because what I've realized there are some situations that everybody is quick to laugh and you can easily get carried away in laughing because
Mm-hmm.
the room is laughing, but your spirit, the spirit of the Lord, when you operate in the spirit, you will see that, well, this is not nothing to laugh about. So you be the only person in the room not laughing, and then when it all boils down, you kind of look into the situation and see that, well, some people looking at you start catch up on themselves and them just start stop laugh and them and say, differently, and I nothing for laugh about this,
Right.
and you can easily get carried away. So when I say the vulnerability, the strength in the vulnerability, because when you're in the room, you want to relate to people, and that's what vulnerability comes in. You just want to ease into others and relate to them on a mutual level. So in the room there was laughter, but the situation was not something to laugh about. We have just been desensitized to what's joke and what's serious. And same way, there are situations that we could be more happy about, but we're just not looking at it from the right way. You know, even other morning, me I do one live and somebody said something, and honestly, I took it the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
And after me finish, after me finish the live, sorry, after me finish the
Mm-hmm.
live, it's like God bring it to my attention and show me that what you thought that he was saying, that's not what he was actually saying. But you were defensive because of expectation, because you expect people to come and talk, counteract certain things a certain way. So even when the person was encouraging, you took it as a counteraction because it could easily be taken that way. And I said, Lord, I need to build sense of humor, and I need help to build it in these areas because the gospel is serious business for me. But he always said to me, everybody wants, no matter how serious it is, you still have to find a way how to let it be easy on people. So,
Yeah.
so it's just been a journey for me, and the journey is still continuing. Yeah,
And I think that's what loving kindness is, based on my understanding of it. It's not that you are gonna lead someone the wrong way, but you have to do it in a very loving and kind way. You can tell the truth, but you can do it in a form where you leave somebody with their dignity. You never try to steal a person, because once you do that, you're gonna automatically be offensive and create offense. You don't want to do that. That's not the method we are learning to go about ways. Because we can't be wanting you to win it with the body at the same time we have ability that not work. You get me? I say so. We have to learn to show loving kindness. And with that being said, it's not an easy road to do that. Personally, I know that, because loving people that are hard to love is not an easy thing. But when you learn to see um, from the aspect of, we always tell me, whatever caused him to be that way. I don't remember the terms you're supposed to know when I talk about
yeah,
the shape of the soul and the conditions and stuff like that.
yeah,
Then now, when you look at it from that angle now, then you start to empathize. And how you do reach the level of have that empathy is you start to see your own flaws in your own self. You start to pay attention to you more. So your weakness now, when you recognize your weakness now, then you realize you do struggle too. So everybody do struggle. Everybody need loving kindness. You need it, them need it just the same. And that's why it's not that I wouldn't say stoic or whatever, but we always talk about this where I learn to keep it baseline when it comes down to validation and humiliation. You get what I'm saying? Because the thing about it, I can't allow you to have emotional control over me. So when I make your compliments, bring me up. Because if your compliments bring me up, the balance of it is gonna be, when you come and say something bad or negative, it's gonna bring me all the way down.
yeah,
So the compliment, me appreciate it just as much as me appreciate the other way of it, where you say something belittling, because now it give me opportunity to grow, where I can actually come up. The belittling, this is something I can use to build myself. And the compliment is now say, hey, you're doing good, keep on. Because the validation is a dangerous thing when you give people a power over you. Because once they had an authority over you, they can be like this minute one thing, next minute, and you're a human being, so you know that too. You can just get up this mind and feel different. You get me? I say, and that's the reality of who we are. So now we learn now, if it does not give that power to nobody, you're supposed to always learn to be in control of this vessel. It was given unto you. And then now, because you have a better authority over yourself that way and have more emotional control. So that's why now when it comes down to the vulnerability for me, is that me maybe be present in the moment with the situation And then when we step away, that's where the vulnerability become. I cry about it to the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have an outlet,
Yeah.
Because if you don't, it's gonna fester. So in the meditation of prayer and reading the word, then you go back in one Psalms where David cry out like Psalms 35, plead my cause, O Lord, with them that strive. And then you just remind us, say, yo, your struggles is of who come before you and who will come after you. So you're not the first one to be persecuted or belittled.
Mm.
And definitely won't be the last one. You get me? And they overcome it. They overcome it just the same. They use the same method. Just let the Lord fight your battles for you, man. He's a vindicator. And you just be at peace. And that's what you're looking for. The peace in the middle of the chaos. Because I think among Shi, he said this. He said this, and he said to being in the monastery, right? The monks,
Yeah.
it's okay to be disciplined because you have a lot of disciplined people around you. But when you come into the world of chaos, that's when you're truly tested.
Mm-hmm.
How do you become disciplined and stay disciplined when all kind of different people around you now? It's easy to be disciplined in the monastery because everybody around have the same principle, the same routine, and they govern the same way. You don't get no testing there. And so when you step into the world amongst every different kind of people, that's when you're truly tested. That's when you know how disciplined you really are.
True.
I'm like, wow. It's impossible for you to get tested when it comes on to sweetness if you always have vegetables in the fridge. No, you buy a box of donut carry in the fridge now and put it down in there now. And it keeps on staring in your face every time you open the door. No, you're being tested. No, you see how strong you really are. Because every time you open that fridge door and you look, they're smiling in your face. No, you see if you really have self-discipline and self-control. You see me? So, but that's the beauty about it still. You just live, you learn, and you grow, and you keep on evolving. Everything is that way. Just keep living, growing, evolving. That's why humility have to play a very significant part in your journey. Because if you keep on searching for humility, you will never find the hidden truths about you because you're lied under humility. That's where every truth about you is lied. Every time the Most High reveal something to you, it comes from you humbling yourself more and more. Today me there at work and call me him talk regularly. And me I say, boy, it's funny how people always hear you say, oh, the Most High said this to you, and the Most High said this to you. And they're like, how me can hear from God? I remember, and I said to him, say, it's like, it's funny because remember when you have an encounter, he brought you to the brink of you, and it was just the same for me. So having to hear him like that, it's not like it's a glorious thing to where it was a marvelous journey or something where extravagant. It's like you almost lose you to gain that.
Mm.
To hear that level of connection there with him is like you cry out to levels where, because I remember when I see you, and me see you up on the bus, and I come to you and say, bro, you alright? You're good, because
Mm-hmm.
you look different. And that time was you have the experience where you actually go through your situation. And that's when you have your encounter. So when a person hear you speak about you hearing from him, it's not like it was a sweet, joyous thing to just wake up and mind and start hearing his voice. And that's right, for me personally. You go through a lot. You go through a lot of crying, a lot of searching, a lot of confusion for you know where to turn, and then automatically by keep on keeping on into decide say, yo, I want to hear from you because I have no choice now. We need to hear from you.
As I mentioned, what people sees now with me right now is just the strength that I have gotten from being vulnerable. So the strength of the vulnerability, because I remember thinking I was so strong thinking I was so smart and thinking I was so capable. And I tried to
Mm-hmm.
do everything on my own. I tried to keep up with life, friends and family, and I swore like
Sorry.
I could do it. But it came to a point where I was losing, even though I'm fighting so hard, and it's like I was losing, not necessarily only resources. I was also losing myself because of how much people take. And I remember even one time you say, God said something to you, these are my people. I know how demanding they are. And that never leave me, because when you said that, I understood. And back then, it took so much to just maintain. So it was a moment where being in a position where I was like, okay, obviously, regardless of how strong I am, or much I think I know, and how much I can do, and how skilled I am struggling. I am struggling. And I just decided, I've always heard about God, and I've always had my Christians. And especially at the point from where I was, especially when it came on to Jesus, there was like a lot of stigma and thing going around, and the way how people portray him to be, and this and that. At the time, I had big issues with how people paint him, and it
Mm-hmm.
always hurt me heart when it's painted like this is what you have to do to get saved. And I'm like, immediately I was like always looking at, I walk in the street and I will look at the people eating out the trash can, and the people that I know that will never make it through the church door. And I will, and my heart always yearn, like sad for the way or the gospel was preached. So I stayed away from it. But one particular night, I remember that it get too much, like being me trying to sustain, and me just cry out to God. And I cry out to God, and I felt the same. Even though me cry out to him, I feel the same. And I was like, no, if you exist and me cry out to you, me cannot feel the same. It is impossible for me to cry out to you. And if you are who they say you are, there's no way I can come back. I can be within my own, because I did not recognize a change, whether mentally, in my heart or in my soul. Me just know say I was the same. And that night I never stopped. I never stopped. I cried out again. And that's when my life shifted, because that's when something happened with it, which is unexplainable. And I was in that position where for the first time because I've never believed in supernatural. I've
Mm.
never believed in supernatural. So that night I saw things that if most of these people curse God and have that experience, me sure them would talk different if they have that experience. And it was a self-shattering feeling that took me way beyond human comprehension. What I saw could not be comprehended. And what I knew that there was something beyond the body because I had a non-body experience that took me to a spiritual realm where seeing things around me that was presently around me, all manner of demons and all different type of things, and them just all forget me. And it was a
Mm.
hopeless feeling. I was not strong enough. I was not strong enough. And I remember I was like, it's like they were all just attacking me. And I was being consumed by the demons and the darkness around me. And I was not strong enough. So naturally, when you're faced with things which is too overwhelming, your natural instinct go think, okay, it's time to flight, fight or flight. And I did not
Yeah.
have the strength to fight all of these things, and it was a lot of scary things, different type of energy and things that I never felt before, and I decided to run. And that's the first time. That's when I heard the voice cried out to me and said, "Be still, do not move, for I am with you."
Jaja.
And then from the instant I hear that voice, I stop right then and there. And I felt change. I felt bravery. I felt peace. I felt release. I felt hope before, yes, before I felt hopelessness, total hopelessness. And when I hear the voice, I felt hope.
Mm.
But at the time, I did not really know, like, okay, who it was. I know that I was seeking God, so I was like, okay, this must be God. I was not in the position where I could say, okay, he was Jesus, because it was just that situation. All I heard was a voice, and the person did not introduce themselves to me that they are this is who and this is that. I just know that God showed up for me. And from that time, the relationship started in the form of awareness. I was more aware, and I was going through so much, as you mentioned, the split between the soul, the heart, and the mind, and seeing each one in their perspective. And that was a journey that God brought me on to understand myself and understand other people. And you know, I could have lost my mind. Like when people say preach and, oh, I could have lost my mind. No, that those things hit different for me, because I was literally there. And it made me wonder if they have been there also. Because I was literally there. Could have lost my mind, the point of no return. But God had me through it, bringing me, and I was had no choice but to be vulnerable because I was spent. And from that vulnerability of being so spent, I started to borrow the strength of God in the areas of my mind. And that's how I slowly started to swap out my mind for his mind and my heart, because I realized that there are times I wanted to take back my mind, my heart, my soul the way how it was, because it was easier to manage, because I knew how to operate. But from the standpoint of awareness, there was just this hovering awareness that let me see above my current conditions. And it's over time learning to operate from that level of awareness, time and time, it goes on. So just to encourage anybody, that don't be afraid to be vulnerable with God, because it's not like you can do anything that he doesn't know. You're going on a relationship with somebody. It might take a while before you feel comfortable
Sorry.
for you and them to share the same bathroom, and for you and them to share certain things, because it's kind of personal. You feel weird and you feel like there are some things you don't feel like to be so open about. God knows everything, so there's no point to hide from him. That is just the flesh in you, shielding you from the true you. You cannot hide from somebody who knows all things. So, as I always point out, and I'm gonna end on the point with this because I've been speaking for a while now. As I always pointed out, God walked into the garden. Adam, where are you? And mind you, this was a garden that had all the animals in the world. This was a garden who had all the fruit trees. Everything was created and in that one space. So I imagine that must have been a big place. Now, even though in that big place, God was saying, Adam, where are you? But yet he was walking directly to Adam. Adam and Eve was hiding behind some bush, and he was not derailed to the left or to the right. He went straight to them. So is the calling of God calling because he does not know where you are? No. He knows exactly where you are, but he wants you to be aware for yourself where you are. That's why God call you out on things, not because he's trying to prosecute you. He just wants you to be aware that, hey, this is going on with you right now. Are you aware of it? And if you walk in the dark, well, anything in the dark can affect you. People tell you what I know see no leap, totally not true. Totally not true. So it is good to build awareness. Just be vulnerable. Allow God.
Yeah, that's as I said, that's one of the most cliche talks of where you don't know cannot hurt it. That's I don't know who come up with that thing, but I believe it's the devil himself. Because what you don't know will hurt you more than anything else. Because that's called ignorance towards what you don't know. It's ignorance.
Mhm.
If you don't know that you're developing cancer cells inside your body, and you continue to feed those cancer cells, it will hurt you. If you don't know that you're developing diabetes inside of you, and you continue to eat all the sugar, it will hurt you. You get what I'm saying? So things you don't know will hurt you quicker than anything else. You get what I'm saying? So I don't know. I mean, as I said, maybe the devil himself, because he always have these little tricks to play upon people's mind, you know.
True.
Yeah, understand me, I say. But it's amazing, man, the experience you have with the Most High. And I heard it told it over and over and over and over, and it's intriguing because it's funny because no matter how many times you tell me, my mind can't perceive it because you cannot explain it. The experience
Yeah.
is beyond your explaining and it's beyond my perceiving. You understand me? I say, and this is just the same for me too. Because all I can tell you is that we could have realized we can hear 10,000 miles away. The peace, we can explain it. It's the stillness was unexplainable because all me keep on saying is, how am I so peaceful? Because we can't comprehend it. You understand me? I say, so we definitely understand. And that's the beauty about him, you know, is that he have everybody experience different in their own unique way. Because it's specific to you. That's why they said when God made them, birth them all, you know.
Yeah.
Because of 8 billion, 8 billion is unique to them. The experience is unique to them. You see me? And that's why I personally believe you have a purpose for every single one of us.
Yeah.
Every single one of us have our own unique purpose on this earth. It's just you to come under submission and authority to find what he has created you for. Because even as I mentioned, you know, with when he going into the Garden of Eden, and he said, Adam, where are you? As you say, you know. But that's how me learn loving kindness, you know, by studying God character, you know. How he talk to people through the Bible, how he relate to them like he said, who told you? These things, he never accuse him, he ask him a question. Remember me, I always talk about this. The proper way of communicating is to ask questions, never make statements. You get what I say? Because even when you know the facts, you may not know why the facts is why the facts. Because a person's perception can may lead him to that. So you ask question from a loving kindness place. So who told you you were naked? Because I never told you that. So who told you that? Where that come from? I know you realize, you in own specific realize, because even King David, when Nathan approached him, and he say, a man who do this, do this, do this, what should be done to that man? Not when he was talking to him himself, because he was unaware at the moment that he was the only one prosecuting him oneself. And then we are here like, whoa.
I mean,
That's how you can offend persons unaware that you're doing it. But when
true.
they reckon bring it to your consciousness that, hey, you've been offensive, you're supposed to realize and say, hey, I'm sorry. That wasn't my intention. And your apology is supposed to be more than sincere. That you can recognize that you didn't realize what you were doing. Because it happens, you know. It happens from time to time. It happened to me, it happened to you. You get what I mean? I say. So that's what even when it speaks about transparency, you know, vulnerability. That's the next thing when it comes down to recognize when you're wrong and be true to your wrong and own it. That I have done you wrong and let me apologize sincerely and dearly. Because I can spot a fake one, you know. Well, not me, but the spirit inside of me can tell.
Mm.
You see me? But if you're honest and sincere, me will know. Because you know how me know? Because your behavior will tell me afterwards. Because if I have done you wrong, my intention from now on is make sure to not never happen again. Never reach nowhere near that level again. So I'm not going to say certain things like that. I'm not going to do certain things like that. Nowhere near that level to even make it affect you that much anymore. Your behavior will tell. But if it happen again, Marco, pay more attention to who you are dealing with in front of you. You see me? So, yeah. But it was a beautiful one, man. And as we always say, the Most High, we not script nothing today. We just pray and say whatever you give it, that we are going with. and let your spirit speak to us. Because that's what we're trying to do. We don't want you to hear from we. We want you to hear from the Most High. Because I don't come to give you knowledge. I want you to get wisdom, and that comes from Him.
Mm.
I want Him to speak to us. So most of the time before we even come out, we pray and we do this, make sure that His presence is fully rest we down so He can speak. Because we don't want to come and tell you what we want to tell you. We want you to hear from the man himself.
Mm.
Definitely.
Definitely. Whoa. With that said, oh my, it's just been a amazing one, you know. And I hope everybody there and we pass through and got something that helps them, to elevate. Definitely, me get some things. Get a lot, you know. And I hope you got a lot too. And as I was saying, just be vulnerable with God. God is a easy choice, Is a easy choice because when you come to a point you realize that sooner or later you go realize that there is more beyond just what you gain physically, whether it's whatever you gain. All that is in the world is the lust of the eyes, all the things for your eyes to see, lust of the flesh, all the things that your body to experience, and the pride of man. All the pride and those three work together phenomenally in this world. But there comes a time when you feel that separation, that there's more than this, than what I'm seeing, feeling, or what I am desire. At that point, let God be your easy choice. Don't try to fight it on your own. He's there for you. There is the divine guidance there for you. Don't battle with names. Don't battle with names. And one of the important things he point out to me that I should always do is to call people to baptism, true baptism. And baptism by the Spirit is not what the world explain it to be. God have a unique calling for everybody, and you need to be your pure self, be your true self. Don't stress about it. Don't live in the expectation of others. Just be vulnerable with God. Find a quiet place and just be vulnerable with God. Whatever you're going through, you feel stuck because you are trying to get free by your own strength. The strength of man face walls of impossibility, but with God, all things is possible. As powerful choices, we always say, Shalom,
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.